Don't worry about your future. Or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubblegum. The real troubles in your life are apt to be the things that never crossed your worried mind, the kind that blindsides you at 4 p.m. on some idle Tuesday. This is a quote from Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen, a song by Baz Luhrmann, the director of Romeo and Juliet. And this song is basically just a graduation speech that's put to music. I encourage you guys all to check it out. When I think of this lyric, it brings me back to this moment in my life. I was working at a church in Kansas. I had moved there to start my family, to start my life. And as I was working there, I'd started to realize that things weren't going very well. In fact, I had started recording some of the conversations that I had with my boss because I knew that things were going poorly and I wanted to share those conversations with others. So I came in one day and my boss said, "We're having a meeting. You need to leave your phone in your office." I knew something was bad. And when I went into the meeting, he proceeded to detail all of the ways in which our relationship professionally was not working out. I remember thinking to myself, things are changing, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. When I got out of that meeting, I went and I picked up my phone. I noticed that I had multiple missed calls from my mom, from the rest of my family. When I listened to my first voicemail, I realized that my grandma had passed away. And that's when it clicked. In the course of less than an hour, my entire life had fallen apart. I was going to have to leave my job, sell my house, find some other place to live, some other way to live. I was going to have to fly to San Diego and perform my grandma's funeral. I realized everything had shifted in the course of a moment that completely blindsided me. And when I look at that moment and I think about this lyric, I think about the idea of destiny, the sheer power that the universe seems to have in dictating how our lives work. Everything from where I was born to the people who birthed me, the genetics that I have, the fact that I'm tall, the fact that I'm blue-eyed, the fact that I have blonde hair, all of these things that I can't control. How much of my life is dictated to me and how much I can't control. When I look at this moment that we're living in right now, where everything is shutting down, where we have to stay indoors because of a force far beyond any one of us, it's hard not to think that destiny dictates how our world works. But then I realized a few years later, I was having a conversation with my friend about a tour that we had gone to. And in this tour, there was a speaker. And at the end of his speech, he just had this mantra he repeated: "You don't have to live this way anymore." I thought it was incredibly powerful. I realized how many things about myself I was repeating just because I felt like I couldn't control it. Like I had to do this thing. And I realized I didn't have to. You don't have to live this way anymore. It was such a powerful thing to repeat. I wondered where that power came from. I recognized that's the power that we have inside of ourselves. That's our free will, our own ability to fight against destiny. It's almost like there are two major forces in the whole universe, and they've been fighting since the very beginning of time. And that's what literature keeps on telling us about: fate versus free will, destiny versus your own choice. Which one's more powerful? When you look at a moment like this where you're stuck inside and where you can't control the outcome of your life, what can you control? Maybe the forces of destiny have seized a very essential part of who you thought you were. But in this game of risk that has been playing out for the last millennia, I wonder what pieces we still have that we can move. To what extent can we control our own destiny? At what point do we say, I have free will and I'm not going to live this way anymore. That's what we're going to be exploring this week. How do we take an opportunity where destiny tells us that we have to stay down, and we tell destiny that it's time to pick ourselves up? So I've given you guys a project. I call this the Destiny Project, and normally this would be a typical in-class assignment, but we have an amazing opportunity to really test what it means to have free will. I call this the power of pig-headedness, the desire within yourself to do something against all odds. I want to see what we can do with this time. I want to turn a moment where destiny tells us to stand still into an opportunity for our free will to say we're just getting started. So, think about this. In the next week, we're going to explore what it means to fight against our destiny.